What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, Duel Commentary. Playing my Bujins once again. This is my Primal Origins build, and I've adjusted a bunch of things. I'm still tinkering around with it. I got a lot of this based from the guy who topped 16 at YCS Philly. He had a lot of good ideas. You see, I opened with Yamato. I got MST, Book of Moon, Breakthrough Skill, and I'm just going to dump here in the end phase. I've got Harumi and Quillen in hand. This is not a net deck of his. I run, like right now I'm running Full House in the main deck. I feel like Full House is really good. And I'm like a couple of cards. I'm running 3 Max Cs also. So you see, I'm playing against Madolche. I expected to have to use Breakthrough Skill on a Trap Tricks Murmilio, but to my surprise, I didn't. And he summons Mageline. I Breakthrough Skill it. He enters battle phase trying to clash with my Yamato, maybe making me burn my hair, but I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I'm like, for sure. I'm just going to MST your Chateau. That's going to die. Your Mageline's going to die too. I don't care if she gets shuffled back to the deck. All I care about is I have field presence and you don't, and you just wasted your normal summon in your battle phase. So I'm just going to attack here. I thought about summoning Quillen, then I was like, why overextend? I can just attack. I don't believe he plays Deep Prison, so, I mean, even if he does, I can just summon Harumi and still get it in. So anyways, I passed to the end phase. Now, I skipped over Turtle because I felt like if he had a way of targeting my guy with, he would have either deprisoned the attack or he would have evac'd my guy or, breakthrough skilled it already. So I decided to skip over Turtle and go Crane by discarding Quillen. And the reason I did that is because for the most part, Madolche usually want to keep Ticket or Chateau on board. So I figured if he was going to try and do that, then, if he tried to put me up against the wall, I could just book his monster and then use Quillen to pop Chateau or pop Ticket, you know what I mean? So I figured I'd just go ahead and skip over Turtle. Now, I got another attack in, and now I am going to go ahead and I am going to go for Turtle. I don't really see Turtle getting used this game, but the fact that I had Crane plus Book of Moon, I felt like there wasn't really much he could do. And then when I drew the Max C, I felt really, really good because I was like, okay, I have an instant counter to whatever the hell he tries to do. So you see he plays Upstart, giving me another 1,000 life points. And then he plays Madolche Ticket. And I kind of thought about this for a second. I was like, is he trying to bait me in to popping his Ticket? I was like, all right, I'll pass for a second. I was like, I'll just go ahead and pass, and I'll just go ahead and I'll dump another hair into the graveyard, and then I'll see what he does from there. But I kind of thought that he threw that Ticket out there to kind of like bait me into popping it, like maybe he had a second Ticket or something like that. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to take the bait. And then he just set another card and he didn't do anything. And I was like, all right, now I'm not sure what this guy's doing. I was like, maybe he set the second Ticket. I was like, well, whatever. It's still a +1, so, take the +1s when you can get them, right? So I blew up Madolche Ticket, and then I'm going to enter battle phase, and I'm going to attack. I expected it to be a Madolche monster. And then he summoned something that I had never seen before, and I was like, one sec, what the hell is this? It's Construction Train Signal Red. And it's like a weird cross between like Battle Fader and all types of jazz. When your opponent declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, change the attack to this card and proceed to damage calculation. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. So basically, one turn you get to summon it, and it just, whatever your opponent attacked, the attack changes to this guy, and then it can't be destroyed by battle by any way. So I was like, all right. And I kind of started thinking, how am I going to kill this card? And I was like, all right, well, I've got Sword. Sword can put Quillen back into the graveyard. I can pop it with Quillen. I can Breakthrough Skill it. I've got a couple of ways of killing this guy. I don't even need to overextend to do it. I don't need to summon anything else. I can just, use one of my traps and I can get rid of it. So and I was kind of hoping he would do a play here. And when he flipped over Hoop Cake, I was like, good. What I want him to do is I want him to overextend. You know what I mean? Like, first off, I'm going to be real. I don't see him getting through my back row. Even if he has, like, Trap Stun or, what do you call that guy? Wiretap. Those don't help against Book of Moon. This second he brings out Tiramisu, I'm going to Book of Moon the fuck out of her. So anyways, I tell him I have no response on the Invoker. And when he tries to activate Invoker, I'm going to Max C him. So I know I'm going to be getting 1-for-1 on my my Max C at the very minimum. Honestly, I kind of hope he just keeps going because, again, there's no way he's going to OTK me with 9,000 life points. Not to mention, when he tries to put something in front of me that I really don't like, I'm going to Breakthrough Skill it. And then if you wiretaps it or whatever, then obviously I'll have Book of Moon for the Tiramisu. Tiramisu, quite frankly, is the only card that I care about right now. I don't really care about anything else that he does except Tiramisu. Tiramisu is like the Bujin killer. So you see that he gets Chateau for Messenger Gelato. And what is Messenger Gelato anyway? Like, I work in a bakery at a grocery store for a year and a half. I feel like I vaguely remember that name, Messenger Gelato. You know what I mean? I feel like it's some like French cake. You know what I mean? Or like some type of cream in it or something like that. Like, how come there's no Madolche Napoleon or, you know what I mean? Like, I know there's tiramisu. Tiramisu is actually really nasty. It's kind of like if you've ever had, it's like, man, I'm trying to think. It's like a pudding, but like it's coffee flavored. It's not, I don't like tiramisu. Some people love that shit, but I personally don't. So anyways, back to the duel. My opponent, Willard89, whose name I never even said for some reason. Totally disrespectful, by the way. He's thinking about his move. And right now, his only question is, do I want to continue because I'm under max C? That's really what he was thinking about. He's probably thinking, number one, I'm under max C, so I'm giving my opponent cards. Number two, what is my ends? How do I get rid of that fucking Yamato? Because, I mean, I've got Hare and Turtle in the graveyard, and he knows that I have a Crane. And once you let Bujin start drawing, you're looking at potentially 2 Cranes. So he activates, what's it called? He activates Hoot Cake and the second Hoot Cake, and that gets him another Messenger Gelato. That gets him Ticket. And you see my main deck Full House is already going to be live. That's the crazy thing, right? My main deck Full House, if if he doesn't do anything else, I can obviously set Full House. I can blast away all 5 of his back row, all 5 of his traps, his speller traps. So yeah, I'm really liking Full House right now. I like it because artifacts don't trigger during their turn. So it's very easy for them, wait for them to use like a duality, and then you chain something, and then you just Full House their entire back row. Alright, so you see he attacks with, I believe, Messenger Gelato. So just to be safe, in case he's playing Debunk in the main deck or some shit, because it has happened before, I'm going to activate Hare. And I'm going to ask him if he has any responses. I wouldn't want to end up getting like OTK'd because I didn't use Hare, and that's retarded. So I got 2 of them anyway. So during damage calculation, I'm going to activate Crane on Messenger Gelato attack. So I go to 36 and he's at 21. He takes 1500 and it goes to his hand. At this point, he activates the Ticket. I'm like, you know what? I don't even care. You can get as many cards as you want. Right now, all I'm going to do is just attack and Crane you. Like that's really my win condition right now, is just kind of winning through Crane. You know what I mean? So I don't really feel like he can have 50 cards. It doesn't really matter how many Madolches he has. If he can't stop attacks from my Bujins, I don't really see him winning. Anyways, his Messenger Gelato, the one that got summoned in defense mode, died. And I got another Full House, so I feel really good now. I can just blast away extra cards. Because, I mean, I'd imagine he's going to summon Messenger Gelato, assuming that I don't win. I'm just looking at my options. You see I still got Book of Moon. I've got Bujin Sword. I think I still got a Breakthrough skill set down there or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, I banish Crane to summon Hiromi, and he has no response. And I'm like, okay, well, attack Invoker and go to damage step and Crane you. So he doesn't have any response, and that's exactly what I do. I'm like, all right, well, Crane in the damage step. I have 4K, and your guy's what, like 1600. So I mean, that's 2400. That's game. So he ends up scooping it up, opening strong there. That was a pretty routine victory. And you see my build right here. It's like, 3 Yamatos. It's all the main cards that I adjusted was I took out the Veilers for 3 Max C because there's a ton of special summoning this format, and Veiler doesn't do anything to artifacts because they get special summoned during your turn. I brought Breakthrough Skills in. Breakthrough Skills is amazing right now. I brought the Full Houses in because it's good against pretty much anything that doesn't run Decree. I mean, like I said, artifacts, they wall up, Gear Geo walls up. You can wait for them to activate a couple of cards. Your 10 key makes it super easy to use Full House, and a lot of times you just end up blasting your opponent's back row, and they just get whooped. I'm testing out 3 Carnations just because I do banish a lot with Harumi, and then I run the one Estruda, which he's like so-so. I mean, you just kind of have to use them. You see, I side them out a lot. I run one copy of the sword. The sword is actually really, really good because it's a way to get back Crane, and it also gets back Coiling. So, like, those are the main two things you can do. Also, if you normal summon Yamato and it gets warning, you can just bring back Yamato to your hand. Alright, so you see my opponent goes Angeli. I have Maxi. You can argue that maybe I should have waited here, but I felt like if I would have let him get Hoot Cake, then he would have had 2 monsters on board, and that would have been even more difficult because I can't kill 2 monsters in 1 turn. So I drew a full house, and I'm like, okay, I like that. He has an Angeli in defense mode. Angeli is $46 fucking dollars, guys. Real talk. Like, that is crazy. So, I normal summon Yamato, and I hope it doesn't die. It gets Book of Moon, and I'm like, fudge. So I just have to go to main phase 2. I set Breakthrough Skill, I set Tenki, and I set Full House. I don't really need the Tenki, to be honest. You know, I guess you say I could have activated it and got another Yamato, I guess. It's like I didn't really need it. I was just kind of hoping maybe it would get MST'd or something like that, considering I've got Mikazuki and Hirome and in my back row. I mean, the way that I look at this, if he gets this Hoot Cake off, I'm going to lose anyway. So I'm not even that concerned about a fucking Tenki, quite frankly. So he asked me effect. I don't like when people do that. It's like, all right, don't ask me if you can use the effect. It's your card. I don't control if you trigger effects or not. I just respond to activation of effects. I don't have any control over if you activate the effect of Hoot Cake or not. So I say no effect if I have say. He doesn't understand. And I'm like, I can't activate the effect. Alright, so I try and break through skill the Hoot Cake. Obviously, he could just normal summon and activate another Hoot Cake. He changed Trap Stun. I changed Full House, just wanting to nuke everything. All the back row cards. I obviously target the 2 that he has set, which is Warning. And I think it was a Bottomless. Yeah. It's a Bottomless, a Warning. And then you look at that, and obviously there was no way I was going to win. He opened with Bottomless, Solemn Warning, and Book of Moon against Bujins. You cannot, like, you practically can't win against that. Like, okay, let's say he would have used Solemn Warning, right? Alright, well, then I summon Hirome. Okay, well, then she gets Bottomless, and then I lose. So, yeah, it's the same end, because he still has Book of Moon. So, anyways, he gets Messengelato, which gets him Ticket. He normal summons a second Messengelato. I assume he's going to go for Tiramisu now. Tiramisu just gives no fucks. She's going to put some of her Madolche cards back in her deck, which I believe triggers Ticket and gets him even more cards. And then my Yamato goes back to my deck. You can see if I had another Bujin in my graveyard, or if I played Foolish Burial, I might actually be able to come back and win. But I think all I have is Spell and Traps in my graveyard. So there's practically no way that I could come back. And really, realistically, the only way I would have been able to come back in this situation is to Exciton Knight the field. I mean, because, alright, he's pretty much put all his cards on the table. I take 27 from Tiramisu. I take 2K from Hoot Cake. I take 21 from Messengelato. And then he sets a card. I'm going to ignore whatever the fuck his card is, because I know the only play there is the Exciton Knight. But I don't have any way of putting Exciton Knight on board, so I just scoop it up. Alright, so game 3. And honestly, the way that my deck is with the Maxis and the breakthrough skills in the main deck, I kind of feel like I should win. Like, I kind of feel like this deck is kind of meant to beat, you know, a deck like Madolche, especially the Full House. Full House just puts in so much work against them because they always want their field spell out. They always want Ticket out. So, you know, you pretty much have one card right there, and then, you know, they're just like every other deck in this format. They wall up. They set a whole bunch of cards in their back row. So you see we open really nicely. Hirome, Tenki, Bottomless, MST, Maxi, Full House, and we're going to Tenki for Yamato, just like we did in the first game. And this hand is very similar to the first game. So you see, I said Bottomless. I'm basically walling up against him right now. You know, I set my Full House, I set my MST, I set my Bottomless, and then I'm going to dump my hair into the graveyard. Now, I've got Maxi in case he plays Angeli, but, you know, I feel good against pretty much anything that he does. And what is he going to do? He plays Madolche Chateau. And I like the art on that. It's like you've got what's her face? You've got Madolche just like chilling there. Is she like sitting on a cupcake or something like that? I don't know. Now here was the thing. I obviously could have MST'd the Chateau, right? Here's the problem. I want to use that fucking full house, and I want him to feel safe. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm going to dump my hair. I know you don't have Bottomless. I mean, I know you don't have Book of Moon, and even if you do, I have Harume. What I want for him to do is, I want for him to feel totally safe and set a bunch of cards in his back row, which is exactly what he did. And now I full house him, and I'm just like, yeah! I got rid of Trap Stun, Torrential Tribute, Book of Moon. And you know what? I just realized he did have the Book of Moon. I am shocked he didn't play Book of Moon on the hair. Like, that's what I would have done. But then I guess he was facing down 3 back rows, so he thought maybe I could have had something like that. And then he was like, well, shit. And I know in the Watchers chat, they probably flipped the fuck out when I full housed them because I just cleared out the whole deck. So it's moves like that why I like full house in the main deck for Bujins. Any deck where you run Fire Formation Tenki like Constellars, Fire Fist, and Bujins, I think full house is legit. Anywhere else, I'm not so sure about. Because it's an expendable card for Bujin players. You know what I mean? You don't want to give up your real shit to use full house. So you see anyways, I attack, or last turn I dump the hair during the end phase. This time I top deck a Crane, and I'm like, damn, why can't I get something better? And I'm just going to attack for 1800. By the way, I think on my turn 1, I think I took too much attack because his guy was 21 and my guy was 19. I took 500 for some reason because I can't do math. So I dump Turtle during my end phase, and he summons Madolche, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, use your effect. You know, I'm really not scared of Madolche. Like, she's too weak. I mean, she only has 1900 attack. He gets Angeli, which I'm fine with. I'm going to maxi the fuck out of that bitch. And then he just passes. Now, at this point, after I drew a second Harume, I was like, what the fuck is this? 2 Harume, like, double Crane? Like, can I get something that doesn't need to be special summoned or something that actually doesn't sit in my hand? So I started looking at my extra deck, and I'm like, okay, I'm sick of this. I'm not going to sit here and not do damage just because, you know, I'm afraid of banishing my Turtle. Clearly, the Turtle hasn't done anything in all 3 games. So I'm like, fuck this. I'm going in. So you see Yamato attacks Madolche. That does 400. Crane attacks, secondly, for 1600. And then Harume is going to attack for 2k. Now, I can't use 2 Harume, but I guess I could have Exceed and then summon the second Harume. But I'm just not like a super aggressive player by nature, so that's not a move that I'm inherently going to do. Alright, so you see, I summoned Susanoo, and there wasn't really anything good to get. I was looking, I was like, wow, I don't want anything. Like, you see, I'm looking over my deck, and I was like, there's nothing I want. Like, I've already got Crane, and I've got hair in the graveyard. There's nothing I want. I rarely ever dump with Susanoo. I usually add to hand. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just add Mizuki, or Mikazuki, and I'll just pass turn. And I assume he was going to summon Angeli, which I was just going to max Seer. Yep, he summons Angeli, and I max C. Now, here's the thing. If he would have tried to stall out with another Angeli or a Hoot Cake or whatever and just tried to sit there, obviously, I just would have used Susanoo's effect. I would have put Quaylin in my graveyard, and then I would have had Quaylin just banish itself to pop whatever the hell he summoned that he was trying to stall with. Not to mention, I can go rank 4 easy and just summon Black Ship of Corn, so it's not like any type of big thing. Now, I thought about bottomless in here, and I was like, why? Let me just get free cards. I could have just bottomless here and just ended the game, but I was like, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just being a prick. So anyways, he gets Messengelato, which gets him a card. I decided to bottomless the Messengelato because I don't want this to go too far. I mean, the fact that he didn't get another level 3, you know, it's like, whatever. Now, if you didn't believe that I had the MST, obviously you can see that I have the MST. So he ends up using it on Debunk, which in hindsight would have actually saved him from the Quaylin. It wouldn't have saved him from Black Ship of Corn, but it would have saved him from Quaylin. So you see, I'm just going to banish Quaylin after sending it to the graveyard for Hoot Cake, and then I believe I can practically OTK in that situation because I could go, I could normal summon Mikazuki, I could special summon Hirome, and then I could attack with everybody and make Cowboys. So I think that's over 8k right there. So thank you guys for watching, as always.